Donald Trump's frenetic start to life as President of the United States doesn't look like easing up anytime soon. His administration lost its bid to reinstate a travel ban on people from 7 mainly Muslim countries. What next for Mr. Trump? In the meantime, U.S. immigration authorities have arrested hundreds in raids across the country. Also on the program, I've been talking to the High Commissioner of South Africa to Nigeria, Lulu Muguni. Over 100 Nigerians have been killed, extrajudicially in the last 2 years. I asked him what has been done to end this. I am Segun Ojumu, and this is Hindsight. Segun Ojumu. On this program, we'll be bringing you news, views, and exclusive interviews with
security that cut across humanitarian aid.
It becomes easier to do business in Nigeria. Now,
Nigeria.
It is Tuesday, a day Donald Trump promised to issue a brand new executive order to ban people from 7 mainly Muslim majority countries. That is, this of course comes after his initial attempt was overturned in the courts. It also comes after an appeals court in San Francisco upheld a court ruling to suspend his original order. For now, it is unclear what a new immigration order might look like. What we do know is not much really, other than that Mr. Trump said it will change very little. Details, he did not provide any for the new ban under consideration. If what was said on Friday is anything to go by, Mr. Trump's administration may still pursue its case in the courts over the original order, which was halted a week ago by a Seattle judge. An unnamed judge from the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, which on Thursday upheld the stay on that original order, has called on all 25 judges of that court to vote on whether to hear the appeal again. Mr. Trump's travel ban, which was hastily unveiled at the end of his first week in office, caused chaos at U.S. airports and sparked protests across the country. On Thursday, the appeal court said the administration failed to offer any evidence to justify the ban, which the president said was necessary to keep the U.S. safe from terror attacks. However, Mr. Trump insisted that the executive order was crucial for national security and promised to take action very rapidly to introduce additional security steps in the wake of the court's decision. He spoke as Virginia state lawyers argued that to the court that his policy resulted from, quote, animus towards Muslims. Their challenge focuses on the travel restrictions imposed by the ban rather than the 4-month suspension of refugee admissions. Now, watching developments in the U.S., and you can't but help think about modern-day democracies, the law and respect for it. In the U.S., we saw how federal agencies obeyed the court order immediately it was issued. Here in Nigeria, the tendency is for government to pick and choose what order to obey. This was part of the conversation I had recently with the senior advocate of Nigeria and former Attorney General of Abia State, Awakalu. I, however, began by asking him his thoughts about Mr. Trump's executive order. Watch this.
You would find that Mr. Trump, who was installed as President of the United States of America on the 20th of January, can actually, and without any controversy, be said to be learning on the job. He's never held political office. And so, notwithstanding that he's a very successful businessman, a billionaire in fact, but political office is much different from financial matters. Politics and political power encapsulate every other thing. So, which means that he has issued an executive order. That executive order has been challenged, and then the Court of Appeals says this order ought to be restrained, especially when the case in the court below is ongoing. That's my understanding of the order right now. In the third world, regrettably, the system is still evolving. And that is what brings us to a situation where individual officers of power, let me put it that way, look at which other is convenient and which is inconvenient, and which one is capable of being obeyed and which one is incapable of being obeyed. What it does is that the rule of law, rather than becoming cemented, becomes fragmented, and it disorients the public.
Over the last weekend, President Donald Trump welcomed Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe to Washington, D.C. In his comments, President Donald Trump said the alliance between the U.S. and Japan was the cornerstone of peace in the Pacific. After the talks at the White House, Mr. Trump said the U.S. was committed to the security of Japan. Echoing his words, Mr. Abe also stressed on the importance of strengthening economic and trade relations. Mr. Trump had previously taken issue with the U.S. trade deficit with Japan, threatening tariffs on car maker Toyota. But both men later held a joint press conference on Friday. President Trump described Japan as an important and steadfast ally, and that Washington was committed to bringing bilateral ties even closer. He also said the two nations will continue to build up defensive capabilities in the Pacific, promoting shared interests, including the freedom of navigation. The U.S. Army for many decades has maintained a significant presence on the island of Okinawa and elsewhere in Japan. Japan is looking for guarantees of a U.S. military commitment to maintain stability in the region as China continues its ascent as a military superpower while North Korea develops its nuclear program despite UN sanctions. A joint statement by Mr. Trump and Mr. Abe specifically mentioned that a bilateral security treaty covered the Senkaku Islands. The islands in the East China Sea area are controlled by Japan, but are also claimed by China, which refers to them as Diaoyu Islands. China has been increasingly assertive in the area in recent years. Addressing trade ties, Mr. Trump stressed that his administration will seek free and fair relations with Tokyo. Mr. Abe agreed, but added that there needed to be dialogue to iron out differences on some key issues. That visit by Mr. Abe came as North Korea test-fired a ballistic missile. A first since Mr. Trump came to office. Both men had this reaction to the action by North Korea. Take a listen.
今般の北朝鮮のミサイル発射は断じて容認できません。
North Korea's most recent missile launch is absolutely intolerable.
北朝鮮は国連決議を完全に遵守すべきです。
North Korea must fully comply with the relevant UN Security Council resolutions.
先ほどトランプ大統領との首脳会談の中において、米国は常に 100% 日本と共にあるということを明言されました。そしてその意思を示すために今私の隣に立っておられます。
During the summit meeting that I had with President Trump, he assured me that the United States will always with Japan 100%. And to demonstrate his determination as well as commitment, he is now here with me at this joint press conference.
私とトランプ大統領は日米同盟をさらに緊密化し、そして強化していくことで完全に一致をいたしました。
President Trump and I myself completely share the view that we are going to promote further collaboration between the two nations, and also we are going to further reinforce our alliance.
私からは以上です。
That is from myself.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prime Minister. I just want everybody to understand and fully know that the United States of America stands behind Japan, its great ally, 100%. Thank you.
総理大臣、どうもありがとう。
100%, he said there, Donald Trump. We'll take a short break now and then Hindsight returns. Please stay with us. On this program, we'll be bringing you news, views, and exclusive interviews with
Security that cut across humanitarian aid to
it becomes easier to do business in Nigeria. Now,
Nigeria.
welcome back, and if you're just joining us, this is Hindsight. Now, days after Mr. Abe's visit, as we told you before the break, another world leader came calling to Washington. This time it was a next-door neighbor, Canada. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is known for welcoming refugees, 40,000 of them, with open arms into his country, a stark contrast to Donald Trump, who wants to keep them out. Both leaders at their meeting stressed their countries' shared economic goals and cooperation at a joint news conference. But their responses to questions about Syrian refugees underscored their contrasting policies on immigration. Mr. Trump defended his controversial travel ban, saying he wanted to have a big, beautiful open door. But that, quote, "We cannot let the wrong people in." Here is a bit of what was said at that joint press conference.
Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister, and Mr. Prime Minister, could you answer in English and French for us, please? A little bit of a follow-on on my American colleague's question. President Trump, you seem to suggest that Syrian refugees are a Trojan horse for potential terrorism, while the Prime Minister hugs refugees and welcomes them with open arms. So I'd like to know, are you confident the northern border is secure?
Can never be totally confident, but through the incredible efforts already, I see it happening, of formerly General Kelly, now Secretary Kelly. We have really done a great job. We're actually taking people that are criminals, very, very hardened criminals in some cases, with a tremendous track record of abuse and problems, and we're getting them out. And that's what I said I would do. I'm just doing what I said I would do when we won by a very, very large electoral college vote. And I knew that was going to happen. I knew this is what people were wanting. And that wasn't the only reason. That wasn't my only thing that we did so well on, but that was something that was very important. And I said, we will get the criminals out, the drug lords, the gang members. We're getting them out. General Kelly, who's sitting right here, is doing a fantastic job. And I said at the beginning, we are going to get the bad ones, the really bad ones. We're getting them out, and that's exactly what we're doing. I think that in the end, everyone's going to be extremely happy, and I will tell you right now, a lot of people are very, very happy right now.
Canada has always understood that keeping Canadians safe is one of the fundamental responsibilities of any government, and that's certainly something that we're very much focused on. At the same time, we continue to pursue our policies of openness towards immigration refugees without compromising security. And part of the reason we've been successful in doing that over the past year, welcoming close to 40,000 Syrian refugees, is because we have been coordinating with our allies, the United States and around the world, to demonstrate that security comes very, very seriously to us, and that's something that we continue to deal with. C'est clair que
Let's come back to Africa now. The story of South Africa's struggle against apartheid rule cannot be complete without Oliver Tambo. Together with Nelson Mandela and Walter Sisulu, he formed the ANC Youth League in 1943. This month, the South African High Commission in Abuja is celebrating the life and legacy of this great South African. I recently spoke to the South African High Commissioner to Nigeria, Lulu Mnguni, about O.R. Tambo, as he is fondly called. Here is what he told me. What he stood for.
Okay. Oliver Tambo was one of our outstanding leaders, a friend, a brother, and a comrade to Nelson Mandela. They were so close that Nelson Mandela was even said that now they were joined together by a umbilical cord which could not be broken by anybody. Mandela saw Oliver Tambo as a leader, as we also saw him as an inspiration to our people, the oppressed people of South Africa. We saw him as a loser.
Let me jump right in and ask you, okay, it's going to be 100 years now. Here in South Africa, Nigeria, what is the High Commission planning? Do you have any plans to celebrate this great man? What are your plans?
Actually, this year, we'll focus mainly on Oliver Tambo's contribution in our struggle. We will be saying we are walking in the footsteps of Oliver Tambo, trying to emulate all the good, all the selflessness, that which he did for our people and for our continent of Africa. So we will be visiting the internally displaced persons camps, where, for instance, we'll go to Kochungoro camp,
okay,
to donate 4 mobile classrooms with desks and, of course, and other items that which we feel are of necessity.
Okay.
We will also try to intervene and strengthen the career center at which we established.
Okay.
And we hope also to start a farming project.
That's not all we talked about. I also asked him about the extrajudicial killing of Nigerians in South Africa in the last 2 years. One of the most recent being the suffocation to death, or alleged suffocation to death, of Victor Nadi in December 2016. The Metropolitan Police in Cape Town are accused of this act. About 2 weeks ago, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Foreign Affairs and Diaspora, Abike Dabire, met with the High Commissioner of South Africa to Nigeria. She called for an investigation into the killings. Hear his response. Just the other day, the President's Special Assistant on Diaspora Matters was in your office. Tell us about that meeting and what the assurances you might have given her to end this thing.
I think the matter is at the moment still sub judice. I mean, there's still investigation continuing. Okay. We cannot draw conclusions.
But we're talking about other issues that have happened in the past.
No, even those ones. I mean, there are two sides of the story.
Sure.
The union, the Nigerian Union in South Africa, of Nigerians in South Africa, of course, says that now this person was squeezed by the police until blood gushed out and he died. And the police said no, he was killed by swallowing the drugs which he had with him. So the matter now is being handled by the police and, of course, the Independent Police Investigative Directorate and, of course, the pathologists. So they will come up with the results. But at the very same time, it hurts for me just to have this mentioning of a person killed, whether by, swallowing drugs or by the police. It's not good.
True.
Whether this person was a South African or any nation, or whether it was black or white. It hurts me, especially that Nigeria had done so much for us, that they were unwavering partners in our struggle against apartheid. So we hope that this matter will be finalized in a transparent manner, and that those who are found to have committed a ghastly act of murder of course, face the wrath of justice. That's all we can say. But at the moment, the matter is still under investigation.
High Commissioner of South Africa to Nigeria, Lulu Nguni there. Now, in other developments, today is St. Valentine's Day, a day people world over express love. Sadly, it is also a day many get infected with HIV and other STDs due to unprotected sex. Now, the AIDS Healthcare Foundation, a leading NGO on the front line of the fight against HIV and AIDS, on Monday organized a program for people to get tested. It also distributed free condoms. AHF Country Director Aditya Towola says in the last 5 years, his organization has distributed over 5 million condoms to Nigerians. We also spoke to the state coordinator of AHF, Dr. Kema Onu, who says the message of the danger of unprotected sex is getting to the target audience.
Of course, it's also an important day that coincides with a prelude to 14th of February, which is of course the Valentine's Day, and of course where the day when people find time to share quality time with their loved ones, and of course also that resonates with the youths and adolescents, young women and girls, and of course condom of course play a very important role in as far as controlling the spread of HIV and AIDS is concerned. We all know that at every days like this, people share time, people share love, and of course HIV also find a way to move around within this period as well. So in order to prevent the spread of HIV and AIDS while you are expressing your sexuality, and we need you to take good care of your sexual and reproductive health, and condom comes in handy. That's why we say condom is always in fashion, because times like this will always come. And of course, it's a very veritable tool, scientifically proven that it also prevents the spread of HIV and AIDS.
I'm afraid that's where we'll leave the program today. Let's keep the conversation going online. We are on Twitter at Hindsight STV, or you can email us on hindsightsilverbird@gmail.com. See you again next week. I am Shegun Ojumu. Goodbye.